2022 gave us some unbelievable gaming experiences, and since I missed the snow globes last year, I thought I'd be remiss not to mention a few of them here. Like how Card Shark turned Victorian-era card tricks into high-stakes WarioWare minigames, which was incredibly fun. Or Lil Gator Games solidifying a new genre by expanding the cuteness in what I now like to call short hike-alikes, and another one with a tiny fox protagonist that I might have to do a video on next. But at the end of the day, if I had to pick my game of the year, well, it would be Elden Ring. But if I had to pick my indie game of the year, it would have to go to Neon White. It's funny because when I first saw the trailer for Neon White, it seemed like the opposite of my taste in video games. First-person shooter combined with a deck builder? But in reality, the gameplay is nothing like that, and in fact plays much more like a 3D platformer, with the cards acting as your power-ups. There are enemies to shoot along the path, but that's more just to keep things interesting and test your reaction skills, because the main goal is to reach the end of the stage as fast as possible. And this is why it almost feels more like a precision platformer. To kill all monsters and finish in a time worthy of an ace medal demands perfection. But Neon White isn't afraid of asking so much of the player, because along the way it creates a flawless learning curve and sets the bar much lower for new players who may have never speedrun a game before. Let's break down exactly how they pull off making players care about what is essentially a time trial mode, while maintaining a hefty level of dopamine and addiction in the process. My favorite aspect of the game ended up being the cards/guns. /abilities. They all have different rates of fire, like shotguns, pistols, or Uzis, but the real bread and butter is the secondary techniques you gain by discarding a card. And these range from a simple double jump to a downward slam, grenade launchers, or even a grapple hook. Every game is better with a grapple hook, isn't it? You can hold up to 3 at a time, so it's easy to see how they can string together sick combos and reach new heights. In terms of helping you go faster though, I like how they're all color coordinated with distinct visual flair, so you can quickly identify what they're intuitively meant to be used for. The level design is of course doing a lot of heavy lifting here too, as the layouts are pretty straightforward and using white backgrounds or other solid colors makes for a very readable environment, which is key for a game that wants you to focus on your movement and the obstacles in front of you. The result is an overwhelming sense of flow that just feels incredible to complete. And there's like 80 levels, so they do a phenomenal job of stacking new concepts on previous ones, and showing through gameplay how you can use your abilities in new ways. Like how launching multiple grenades shoots you higher in the air than just one. Or that you can literally rocket jump in this game, something considered an exploit in the titles that inspired this, but here it's not only intended but required. The most important aspect though in helping players dip their toes into speedrunning is the medal and insight system. Imagine you're a player who's never even thought about going fast in a game before and is a total newbie to the concept. Well, the first time you enter a stage, it doesn't list any benchmark times or open the leaderboards, it doesn't even show you the timer. It just wants you to learn the major mechanics and figure out how to reach the end. Let's say you cautiously proceed and finish with a bronze medal. Now it shows you the times you need to reach each medal as well as the leaderboards with your friends' times, which is way more motivating than I expected it to be. I know I can at least beat Perry or Raz's time, come on. So you try again, now with the knowledge of how to beat it and earn a silver medal. Along the way, you've now unlocked a player ghost to try and improve your time, as well as the ability to pick up a gift that is hidden somewhere in the stage. Now, the gifts are really interesting because it allows for a totally different style of gameplay. You're basically searching every nook and cranny for a collectible now, and often will require a different arrangement of weapons than it takes to beat the level. So you need to think outside the box and learn all the ins and outs of the stage to get it. And you may not realize it at the time, but this is training you for those even higher medals. Plus, gathering the gifts is totally worth it because you can build rapport with the other characters to unlock bonus levels with specific challenges. Man, this game is so good. So now that you intimately know the stage's layout as well as the variety of options the weapons can afford you, you try for a gold medal. In my opinion, this is still not a very difficult time to achieve. You just need to be intentional about getting from A to B and not make costly mistakes. Once you succeed, it upgrades your ranking, which is required to progress in the game, meaning the true goal of Neon White is finally revealed. In the words of Ben Esposito himself, if you just play to win each level without going back to optimize your time, you're not really playing Neon White. You can beat the game with only gold medals, but once you reach this level of insight, it unlocks a hint that reveals a shortcut to finish the stage even faster. What's especially fascinating about this is that it means every single level has a shortcut built into its world design. It's a game specifically made to be broken. You could take the regular path laid out in front of you, or you could always be on the hunt for a secret alleyway or detour around a building to achieve the coveted ace medal. And these aren't especially easy to figure out on your own, so the hints only unlock when you're serious about lowering your time. The result is a system that lets you know it means business about speedrunning, but holds your hand along the way until you're ready to prove yourself. But then, just like any good speed game, there's an even higher skill ceiling for those that want to push even further, beyond. The elusive red medals, which represent the developer's own personal best times, aren't even mentioned unless you discover one for yourself. But once you do know they exist, the real grind begins. Gaining a red medal in most stages requires knowledge of the game's more hidden mechanics, like running through water to go faster, reflecting bullets to gain a speed boost, or the minute fractions of a second saved by cutting a corner ever so slightly tighter. It becomes a title that can be endlessly replayed until you're finally satisfied, which, I gotta say, beating one of Jesse's times after countless hours of attempts, there's no other feeling like it. He promptly beat me as soon as possible right after, but still. When you finish the game, it unlocks a speedrun mode called Level Rush, which seems to be the final progression the developers want you to go for. Your overall completion time of beating every stage back to back, or in other words, to become an actual speedrunner. I've never seen a game so effortlessly bring people into this hobby through its gameplay alone, and it all comes from having such a well-crafted system of encouragement around its already compelling set of levels. And according to the team, they were very deliberate in making that structure a reality. The concept was simple. Only show players information that's helpful to them at the time and nothing more. You can't see the medal times or your friend's times until you've cleared it once. You can't see your ghost until you're ready to seriously optimize your time. And you can't see any shortcut hints until you've proven you can clear the level efficiently. Finally, you can't see the global leaderboards until you've aced the level, which for many players is still just the beginning. And this couldn't be more true. After acing every stage and red medaling several others, I started looking up speedrun strats and finding new exploits to lower my time even further. And then of course I realized there's no way I could ever become a top tier player, but it still kept being satisfying to get a new personal best. Intentionality and specific game design choices was the make or break decision behind Neon White. And because of this, it ended up being my favorite indie experience of last year. Oh, and the soundtrack is straight up filthy, dude.